money time, let alone in a year. And I've just had to say no because I want to focus on my own companies. Yeah, are you asking me what I've said no to in the past?
Yes, I'm asking you what you said no to in the past. I want a number, Chris. Just give me a number.
Of the biggest thing I've said no to?
Yes.
What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back for another daily bodybuilding news live. I've got a ton of stories in this one. Chris Bumstead, what he said no to for a 1-year contract is absolutely crazy. Plus, why did he do it? Carlos Thomas Jr. looking insane right now ahead of his pro debut. When will it be? We can only speculate. Hadi Choopan, is he posting old pictures? We've got updates from Shire, Sergio Oliva Jr., Nick Walker, Darren Charles, and another Masters Olympia competitor. We've got updates from Keon Pearson and a ton more on the list as well. So let's get straight into this one because we've got a ton to talk about. And I want to discuss Hadi Choopan, your 2022 Mr. Olympia, and potentially the favorite for the 2023 Mr. Olympia, depending on who you speak to. But these were some photos that he posted up on his Instagram story page. And I was like, okay, I saw it was shared out by Tarek El Gindi, who's obviously a media guy there and obviously a head judge in the IFBB Pro League and a media guy for the Mr. Olympia. And he says, I'm on my way. So when you see something like that, I mean, obviously English is not Hadi's first language and doesn't speak English. But when you see something like that, you think that Hadi's on his way. This is a current picture, but maybe this is a photo maybe from the last Olympia prep, which is what I'm thinking it is. But he does look enormous here, maybe even bigger than last Olympia prep, but he was considerably bigger on stage, so perhaps that's when it's from. And also this photo here, this looks near Mr. Olympia ready. But he's taking photos of himself, which I wouldn't imagine he was doing too much when he was out there with Honey Rambod, and he was out there for a long time with Honey Rambod. I don't know if this is one of the gyms that Honey trains in or where he would be if he's out in America, because otherwise, which year is this actually from? So are these recent physique updates new? Because this is outrageous off-season conditioning if they are new. But however, I don't believe they are, and I'll tell you why I don't believe these updates are new. Now, I'm going to share my screen with you guys just to show you why I don't believe. I've got to actually stop the share for just a second there, but I'll just share it once again so you guys can see why I don't believe this is recent. And it was a recent posing video that Hadi put up. Sorry, it's a little bit laggy here, but you can see he put this up 4 days ago, and the caption doesn't really give us anything, but it is dramatically different condition. This looks more like a good off-season conditioning rather than what we saw in the other photos. So he posted these up very close to each other, and they're just from different times. You can clearly see it. So anyone thinking that these are from the same time period, I think that they're mistaken. And I believe those photos posted on his story, I don't believe they're recent. And if they are, I'm thinking that Hadi Choopan is potentially competing in an upcoming show very, very soon. And you never know, but I can't imagine Mr. Olympia doing that. But who knows? Let me know what you think. Are the pictures of Hadi Choopan that he posted up, are they old? Is this an old video, potentially? I don't believe so. I believe this is recent. And by this video, he looks like he's in a great spot to potentially retain that Mr. Olympia title in 2023. Most people aren't really even talking about Hadi much because we didn't get to see him at the Pittsburgh Pro Guest Posing. And people forget, I think, pretty clearly about how good these guys actually look. But let's move on to our next update, and that is from Shire, who's looking absolutely next level, 9 weeks out of his pro debut. And I've got to tell you that this is impressing me a huge amount. The amount of more size, let's just say the size differential. And look at that pose. I want to go back to that front double because that is one of the most, whoops, I just missed it. It's one of the most ridiculous poses right now in terms of a front double. It's cut off his head a little bit there, but look how small that waist is. And that's what we want to see in the IFBB Pro League right now. And the arms are enormous. The legs, I think it's a bad angle for the legs, but the legs are pretty damn good as well. And the hamstrings are dropping, and his midsection has really come in a lot. And that's sort of where he was lacking a bit before. He didn't have the midsection, but he had the feathers in the quads. Now that midsection's coming in, he looks extremely full. He's still holding some water, no doubt, but very, very impressed with these physique updates from Shire. He's got lines in the glutes, which you guys might be able to see already. And then the hamstring dips well, and that upper body is thick enough now. So I think Justin Shire can do serious damage in the IFBB Pro League off the bat. And yeah, I'm very, very excited for this pro debut. And we've got another guy as well that's making his pro debut very, very soon. And that is Carlos Thomas Jr. And the only reason we haven't seen this guy on stage is basically because of a few health issues. So he said, they told me to relax and put a little smirking face, feeling much better, and my body is responding well to the food and training. Next up is a GI map to really sort things out. So he's still trying to sort out his health issues. He's being coached by Andrew Vu, who's a very, very good coach. He coaches Natalia Coelho, and she's really big on gut health as well. So I assume that he's going to be on top of that. So I think that that's a great move for Carlos. And look at the legs on this dude here. Like, it's not even an angle that advantages the legs either, because it's from the top half. You know, this might be advantaging his upper body a little bit, but not his legs. And the legs look photoshopped. They are some of the biggest quads in terms of how long they are to how wide they are. They are some of the biggest in the world right now. So Carlos Thomas Jr., the fact that this guy hasn't made his pro debut as of yet is scary for some of these other competitors. And we're going to see, you know, with Justin Shire and Carlos Thomas Jr., and we saw obviously Beef Stew, not his debut rookie season technically, but we've got some outstanding IFB rookies in the pro league right now. So it's going to be very exciting. And we've got another one that I want to show you as well that's really sort of blown me away lately. And that's Joanne Pradels. And this guy is young. He's guest posing here. This video here's by More. It's MORIAU. Photography or videography that you can find on Instagram. And look at that front double bicep. That's the shot where you look at him and you go, wow, this guy is crazy. He can do very, very well straight off the bat. But when you go through some of the other photos, this is 4 weeks out too, mind you. So I think that conditioning wise, I think he just has a bit more maturity to go. So that side chest, I think, will leave him a little bit exposed in the pro ranks. But the front double bicep looks absolutely phenomenal. And guys, if you are in the comments as well watching live, give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. And if you are watching on replay, do the same as well. I'll be in the comments for about 1 to 2 hours after this one goes live, and I'll try to get back to comments later on as well. So get on there and interact. And this is where he falls down a little bit too. He needs more in the back because he's got the great arms, good delts, legs are pretty decent, but he just needs a bit more in the back. So I think pro debut win straight off the bat for Joanne might be a little bit tough to see, but regardless, this guy is really young and he's got plenty of time to make a solid pro career. But let me know your thoughts on Joanne in the comments as well. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly whatsoever, but got some more updates for you guys. And also just want to feature these are the screen captures from that video of Justin Shire. Now, Sergio Oliva Jr., will he make the Cali Pro? He's not on the competitors list. It is Thursday here in Australia. I assume it's still for most places in America. Maybe the East Coast, it's just ticked over midnight, but it is still Wednesday over there. The show is on Saturday for the 2023 Cali Pro, and he posted this saying 286 pounds this morning, trying to pull a rabbit out of my hat. Let's see what the fates have in store for me now. Fingers crossed. When he tagged Chris Aceto, who's his coach. This photo is really good, and people don't recognize it as much because, one, he's got some hair on him, but that's not really the main factor, but he's also tall. So Sergio on his own is never going to look as impressive compared to when he stands next to other guys, and I've never seen him look this big in physique updates prior to a show. What will it come down to for Sergio? It will come down to conditioning, and how does he look standing next to, you know, just say he was able to get to Cali, how would he look next to Tony O'Burton? But it is looking increasingly unlikely that Sergio is going to make it to Cali unless I get some sort of a message tomorrow from Sergio saying I'm on my way, or a photo of him on a plane, which I would love to see. I don't think we'll see Sergio at that Cali Pro, which is a show he wants to do. And I've got to be honest, I really feel for Sergio not being able to make it to that contest if he isn't able to, but I hope he definitely can. Thanks to you guys for getting the comments too. Michael Doherty saying definitely hoping that Sergio is able to. Fingers crossed. Likewise, man. And the Red Loop saying great lower lats on Joanne, but you need a few more years. Yeah, for sure. Totally agree. Anyway, let's move on to our next physique update, and that is from Nick the Mutant Walker, and he's looking at his all-time biggest right now. And he says, they want full, I will give them full. Now, I mentioned something in a video in my interview of Beef Stew, which is now on Desktop Bodybuilding, my second interview of Beef Stew. And we've got an episode of Bodybuilding University coming out very soon on this channel as well, within 12 hours easily, where it features Beef Stew, also myself, Brett Wilkin, and Stanimal Standalone Jr. You guys will really like that one, so make sure you tune into that, subscribe, hit the notification bell button. But in the interview of Beef Stew, Stuart Sutherland, we discussed this a little bit, and it's, Nick maybe went too much in terms of a way of really trying to bring all-time best condition and focusing so much on that, where I hear that and I get a little worried, because I think, is he going to push it too far and go flat? Because there's a fine balance for these guys with so much muscle. At some point, you're going to not be your all-time biggest if you're doing 2 hours of cardio a day and absolutely killing yourself if you haven't done that in the past. So Nick did do that for the Arnold Classic, and it didn't work for him in terms of the judging. I thought he looked pretty damn good, but Samson wasn't looking how he looked at the Olympia. He looked much improved. So had Samson not been there, we'd say it worked. So he still looked fantastic, but I think it was a little bit too far. It wasn't much. I still love the conditioning. I think people still love the conditioning. I love the waist was small. The waist was small at the guest posing. I mean, he's doing all the right things, and it looks like he's doing all the right things. But if he goes for all out crazy fullness and sacrifices too much conditioning, then I think that will hurt Nick Walker. So hopefully he's able to find that happy balance, and that happy balance with just years of progression still on his physique could lead to a Mr. Olympia title. Do I think it will? I don't think it will in the immediate future, but he is going to be there, and I think that he can win an Olympia title at some point, whether it will be this year, 5 years in the future, 2 years in the future, I don't know. But I think he will. But he could definitely be one of those guys that goes his career getting as high as second and not actually achieving an Olympia title. But regardless, Nick Walker is a superstar in this industry, and he's a contender for the Olympia title, regardless of what we think right now. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below on that one. Now, Patrick Tour posted up this of Keon Pearson, and this guy is a legit contender for the 212 Olympia title this year. It will be hard while Sean Clarida is there, but Sean Clarida is not getting any younger. Sean Clarida is, I believe, 40 years of age. He could do the Masters Olympia. Keon is much younger than that. I think he's around 30 or so. So Keon's got plenty of time. Maybe he's even younger than that. But the added muscle on Keon's physique is making him look even crazier. The one spot where I think he might be slightly hurt is his legs. That is one area that I suppose needs to come up a little bit more to contend for the 212 Olympia title potentially, but he has so much craziness elsewhere, and the way his waist comes in really does make his legs look big, especially standing on his own. When he stands next to others, that will be the telltale sign. But Keon has impressed me so much. There is so much more mass on that physique, and when you look back to when he's doing classic physique, he's really completely transformed, and he's doing the best he's ever done in his career of late, and I'm very excited for Keon Pearson. Also, I forgot to show this. This is courtesy of Suliose on Instagram. Great page. This is another update photo from Carlos Thomas Jr. as well, hitting a most muscular. So I forgot to mention that one before and show that one before, but absolutely crazy. So very excited for Carlos Thomas Jr. Now, I've got a few Masters Olympia physique updates. Darren Charles here. 16 weeks out. He's doing the classic physique at the Masters Olympia. I'm not sure how old Darren is. He was known as the king of the $10,000 shows back when Phil Heath was making his, was sort of breaking out onto the bodybuilding scene. So I guess 10, 12, 15 years ago, he was killing those open pro bodybuilding shows because he came in absolutely shredded and beat out guys that were much bigger than him. Now he's going to be coming into this show, and he's a contender for that classic physique title. So I'm excited to see him pose as well. He's one of those guys that can do those crazy posing routines, the pop locking, all that good stuff. So just want to give a shout out to Masters Olympia competitor Darren Charles, and another one that I believe is in the 212s, and that's Masoom Butt. Now, this is not the best physique update, but this guy is going to be a contender. He says prep starts for Masters Olympia. He's going to grow into this, I'm sure, and he's going to come in shredded. He always brought it. He typically worked with Chris, the technician, Aceto, and he's sort of a bit of an unknown guy, but he did very well in the 212. So I'm excited to see what Masoom looks like when he competes in the Masters Olympia. So let me know your thoughts on those guys, and if you think they can win the Masters Olympia in their respective divisions. Do I have any more updates for you guys? Oh, I wanted to show off this video of Sergio Oliva Jr. before we wrap it up too. looking crazy. I just haven't seen Sergio look this big and this hard at any stage of his bodybuilding career. It's just something that we haven't seen. I think he's gone to new levels. I think being out there in Dubai has been the best thing for him, but it is holding him back from competing now because of what actually happened while he was in Dubai. So I'm hoping that Dubai hasn't hurt Sergio too much and he is able to make that Cali Pro. And I do have a poll up right now. So if you are watching live, vote in that poll. And the question is, will Carlos Thomas Jr. ever win a Mr. Olympia title? So I'm going to go to those poll results right now. I've got to actually open up while we're doing this live. Actually, no, sorry. I'll go to my video first. This is about Chris Bumstead and how much he actually turned down to basically stay with Raw and Revive, which is the supplement company he is now a part owner of or a part shareholder of that he works for. And he's earning less money now, basically being with them than signing with these other companies. So we'll find out why, and I'll put this up. This is on the Straight Out of the Lair podcast with Flex Lewis, where he interviewed Chris Bumstead just recently. The full link to that full episode is in the description below. But let's listen to what Chris Bumstead had to say on the latest episode of Out of the Lair podcast. Sorry, guys, I'll play the audio.
Technically pocketing less money than I've been offered. I've been offered some stupid shit to become at this point in my career. I'm like, holy, I've turned down some money that I never fathomed I would make in a lifetime, let alone in a year. And I've just had to say no because I want to focus on my own companies. And this is, when I'm done, I'm not going to get those offers, but I'm trying to build a company that's going to be worth way more than that in the future.
We're obviously in the weight class that,
like I said, the companies he's talking about is Raw and Revive. He's a part owner, I believe, with Matt Jansen, also Dom, maybe other people as well. There might be other shareholders. I have no idea what the specifics are there, but that's what he's talking about there.
is not paid like the open class. We're not moaning about it.
Yep.
We're there for the legacy. And we do very well off stage. But we've created our wealth by investing in ourselves.
Yeah, are you asking me what I've said?
So what Flex Lewis is talking about there is the 212 and Classic Physique are very low paid divisions, even at the very top. So what Chris Bumstead might earn for winning a Classic Physique Olympia title, $50,000, I think it is at the Olympia US, which I think Chris Bumstead would get paid for a day appearance. For an appearance somewhere, he would get paid $50,000. I'm assuming he'd be flown out there first class as well, all that stuff. So winning the money from a Classic Physique Olympia title is just a weekend appearance for Chris Bumstead. It's about building legacy and building his brand through winning the Classic Physique Olympia title. Really, the money has no aspect and no bearing on him. And almost the same as Flex Lewis too. I'm sure he enjoyed picking up $50,000, $60,000, but it was nothing compared to what he's probably making off the stage with his supplement contracts and all that. So it goes to show that, Chris Bumstead would be the most wealthy guy. I mean, Jay Cutler and him, but currently competing, he'd be the most wealthy guy for sure, at least have the highest net worth. I'm sure of that, unless there's someone else that has a big business outside of bodybuilding that we don't know about. But right now, as far as we know, I mean, you got other entrepreneurs in the industry, but Chris Bumstead with, I don't know how many millions of followers now, he would be earning the most money. But let's listen on.
No to in the past?
Yes, I'm asking you what you said no to in the past.
Let's just say upwards of 7 figures.
Upwards.
Yeah.
So you suffice to say, okay. I want a number, Chris. Just give me a number.
Of the biggest thing I've said no to.
Yes. It doesn't have to. You don't have to say who it's from, but just tell me a number and a no.
3 mil.
Wow.
A year.
12-month contract.
12-month contract, and like 3 posts.
3 posts a year or 3 posts a month?
3 stories a month.
We'll talk after the podcast. We'll find that 3 million per.
So that's insane. So Chris Bumstead had a contract on the table to pay him $3 million US a year for putting up 3 story posts a month. So whether that's him talking or whatever, I don't think it really matters, because you start to add up how much he's making per story post. I don't know if there was any other appearances that he was obliged to do in that sort of contract or in that sort of deal. But the fact that he was potentially going to get paid $3 million a year is absolutely insane. So you can see Flex Lewis's face there on the screen. He's sort of blown away by that. But Chris Bumstead, the reach he has, I mean, it would be a more than worthy contract, because if you're sponsoring Chris Bumstead, you're hitting so many eyes, so many of the young generation as well in this industry, and your brand's going to be known very well straight off the bat. You know, even if it is a 1-year contract, putting 3 million into it, you're going to get a lot of brand exposure. So that's absolutely huge. And, you know, shout out to Chris Bumstead for potentially, you know, getting that sort of deal. I'm going to put some more stuff up on the screen very shortly. And I want to mention one more physique update too, and it's a guest posing from our man from Bodybuilding University, Martin Fitzwater, looking sensational. We have a Ronnie Coleman classic guest posing, and he's looking like it's the same physique as last year in terms of lines and everything like that. It's just bigger. It's getting bigger. It is definitely bigger because I know the weight that sort of Martin's getting up to compared to last off seasons, and it's just overall very impressive. And you guys will notice when he hits his crab most muscular, it looks very, very big. So Gravy, you have to go back and watch it. But look at Martin's back, like that rear lat spread. He's posing too quick in this video. So maybe Marty can fix that for future ones. But look at that most muscular. He hits it that quick. It's ridiculous. So Marty, next time you guest pose, hold that pose longer because that is enormous. Like Martin Fitzwater is a guy that comes in inside out shredded. There's almost no denying that. Is he conditioned from the front as he is from the back? No, like when he hits a front double. But a lot of those other front poses are coming in harder as well. And then when he hits the most muscular, that looks hard. The back shots are inside out. He has absolutely insane hamstrings. So this is going to be crazy. If Martin's next, you know, appearance on stage is the Arnold Classic, he brings that same physique he brought to Texas, but more muscle, just as conditioned, but maybe more conditioned from a front. I think that he's going to be very, very dangerous. But let me know your thoughts on Martin Fitzwater. I'm going to get to the poll right now. So if you haven't voted and you are watching live, vote in that poll. And I'm putting up the results for you guys live. I'm just going to open up that now. And hopefully the audio doesn't blast back at me, which is always a danger when you're doing these lives. But let me quickly try and have a look for you guys as it takes forever to load. Hopefully it's not messing up the stream too much. And let me get to it. So, is Carlos Thomas Jr. a future Mr. Olympia? 22% of you are saying yes. 42% are saying no. And 36% are saying no, but he'll be top 5. Now, I'd be leaning in that he'll be top 5, the 36%, or the yes, because I think he has the potential to be Mr. Olympia. Now, his health conditions might say otherwise. There's definitely potential of that. I'll open up this so you guys can actually see the poll results on the screen as they change as well. I won't do that because it's a bit of mucking around. And I'll put up some of this other video so you guys have something to watch while I'm talking about it. But Carlos Thomas Jr., actually, I'll put up the image of Carlos Thomas Jr. so you guys can see him on the screen right now if you are just tuning in live. But he just has, he looks like the height of a 212 guy, but he is considerably over that 212 weight. He doesn't really have any chance of making that. He's got a phenomenal shape. It's just going to come down to, is he able to keep that health condition, which is ulcerative colitis, I suppose, under wraps? Because you hold a huge amount of fluid if you have flare-ups with ulcerative colitis. So that would be hard for him. That might be why some people have said he hasn't brought his best to the stage in terms of conditioning yet. He could have had, mild flare-ups, or just it could have been just the fact that he has ulcerative colitis making it hard for him to drop that water. That could be a factor. But if he is able to get that under control, keep it under control, because it's basically ulcers inside your colon that can, when you have a flare-up, they burst, and then you can actually be pooping out blood, which is definitely not fun. And it is a serious health condition. So I hope that Carlos is able to keep that under control, bring his best to the stage, and, potentially win a Mr. Olympia, because let's face it, these are the kind of physiques we want to see doing well in bodybuilding, because we want it to be, I want it to be a freak show, but a freak show of the aesthetic guys. That's personally what I like. But I know different strokes for different strokes for different folks. And I still think there's definitely a place for the mass monsters and the freaks, because that appeals to a certain audience as well. So get in the comments if you are watching live. What's up, DL? He says, I finally had a chance to catch a live top 5 this year, bros. Got to lock in Nick, Andrew, Jack, Hadi, Samson, and Derek in no particular order. Thoughts? That's a great top 5. That is a great top 5. It will depend. assume maybe one of those guys could drop out of the top 5, but it's hard to see one of them dropping out really. But Andrew Jack hasn't proved it yet on that stage. And we're forgetting about Brandon Curry too. Brandon Curry came in 4th last year. His conditioning was off. The years before that, the 3 years before, he was top 2. I mean, you know, people saying, oh, he's declining, but if he comes in harder this year, you know, keeps enough size on the legs, why would he drop down tons? It's hard to sort of see that. I mean, had he been harder at last year's Olympia, I think he beats Nick. So could he beat Nick again? Yes. Could he beat Andrew Jack again? Yes. Could he beat Samson? Yeah, I think he can even beat Samson, but that will be hard if Samson is in great condition. Could he beat Hadi? If Hadi comes in a little bit off, misses his mark, because Hadi has been shown that he can show up at prejudging a little bit off. At the start of Mr. Olympia prejudging last year, he missed it by a little bit. Like when he first came out, I said, Hardy's not winning this Olympia. I literally said it on my live. He turned to the back, I'm like, that's not hard enough. But he got harder as he posed and was dramatically better by the time he got to comparisons. And then at finals, he was better again. So it seems like a running theme with Hardy's clients. If they come in, Hani Rambod's clients, they come in crazy at the finals. So shout out to you for getting on one of these lives. And yeah, go back and watch it, Gravy. You'll find out the deal that Chris Bumstead CBUM turned down. And shout out to the rest of you guys. Here we go. The Red Loop says, any back shots from Justin? That will be the telltale sign. How will he look from the back? I think with that tiny waist, though, even if he doesn't have the lower lats he needs because he does have higher lats, I still think that, you know, Dennis Wolf from the back got very, very good. Now, he's not at Dennis Wolf's level, but Justin, I think I would rather the very small waist and slightly higher lats than a wider waist and bigger lower lats, if that makes sense. Here we go. The Red Loop says, I heard in an interview Joe Mackey say he was also very successful. He's in the finance industry, drives super nice cars. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think I did hear that as well, that Joe Mackey does pretty well, which is great. I love to see these guys doing well. We've got Ross Flanagan from Flavor Gang. He's going to be doing the show this weekend at the Cali Pro, and he's obviously very successful there as well. And it's a bunch of guys doing well in bodybuilding, and I love to see it. I love to see entrepreneurial type stuff. And DL says, oh, I forgot about Mr. Olympia 2019. But he's actually forgotten about on Fuad Abiad's latest podcast when discussing the top 5 to 6 guys. He was not even mentioned. He keeps a low profile, but I think he's going to do very, very well. And a lot of love for Carlos in here also. So shout out to you guys for getting in the comments live, watching this live. And if you are watching a replay, love you guys just as much. And we're going to have some desktop bodybuilding merch coming out. And let me know in the comments, would you get some desktop bodybuilding merch? Because I'll make it look good. It's going to be on high quality t-shirts. Like, honestly, the ones I wear now that I choose to pay $50, $60 for, they're going to be the exact same make. They're going to be high quality. You can wear them in the gym, outside the gym. I'm going to make some that are more bodybuilding specific, but there's going to be a whole range. I'm going to make a first 100 as well. So if you are able to get onto it quick, there's going to be a first 100. So these are reserved for the OG desktopers. And I encourage the subscribers that love desktop bodybuilding that have been around for a little bit, definitely get one of those first 100 t-shirts. It's going to have a little 100 emblem somewhere on it to show that you got one of the first 100 desktop bodybuilding t-shirts out there. So let me know if you'd get them. If you'd be interested, I'm going to be dropping some designs over the next week or so. You guys can let me know what you think of each one as well. And yeah, good point. Justin is in the wacky tobacco industry. I don't want to say anything because we know how it is on YouTube these days. I don't want to get demonetized or anything like that. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Daily Bodybuilding News Live. It's much appreciated. I appreciate the love, appreciate the comments, appreciate the shares as well. And yeah, keep going hard in the gym, guys. And I'll speak to you all tomorrow. So that's it for me. I'm Xavier Wills. This is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.